Hey everybody, and welcome to my channel. We've got a good one today. My name is Kimber Kelly with Rustic Touch Beauty. I am a licensed cosmetologist as well as a makeup artist, and I love all things beauty. Skincare, makeup, hair, you name it. If it's related to beauty, I'm probably going to be talking about it. So today is going to be all about troubleshooting highlight applications, specifically with Seint Beauty makeup is what I'm going to be working with today. I have used this makeup for the past almost 4 years now, and I can honestly say I will never go back to using anything else. It's the most incredible makeup that I have ever used. Not only does it look so incredibly natural, but it's also very, very simplified. This is my entire makeup, all right here in one compact. I have eyeshadows on the top layer. I have highlights, which is what you would consider your typical foundation color. Contour. Down here we've got blush, illuminators, so many things, and it's all right here in one compact. So very, very simplified and very compact. This is the makeup I'm going to be working with today. If you are interested in trying this makeup, I do have a form in the description box below, and go ahead and just fill that out, and I will help you in picking which shades are best for your skin tone. Color match is what I like to call it, is huge with this makeup. If you have the right colors and you have the right application, you will soon and quickly learn that there truly is nothing else that compares to this makeup. So be sure to fill out that color match form below, and I will get back to you with all my recommendations within 24 to 48 hours via text and email. If you're new here, make sure to tap that bell, like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel. All right, so for today's video, like I said in the beginning, we're going to be specifically talking about application with highlight. With Seint Makeup, our terms and what we call things are a little different than what the makeup world calls it. So these colors right here are what I call my highlights. So these are what you can think of as a typical foundation color, but I also have a color corrector within here. I have a brightener, and I've got a main shade. So these are the colors I'm going to be working with. Typically, when I match you, I will always match you with 3 colors, because one is a color corrector. The other one is your main highlight. This is going to be the color that's closest to your skin tone. And that third color is optional, but I personally highly recommend it. It's going to be your lightest highlight color, and this is just going to give your skin that pop of brightness that we all want. When using this makeup for the very first time, because it is cream-based, we tend to overuse it. And when you overuse this product, your face can feel sticky, it can feel tacky, it can feel just like you have too much on. If you feel like it's wiping off really quickly or it's not lasting all day, ironically, it's because you've used too much. This is meant to work in small, thin layers because it's a buildable foundation. It has buildable coverage. And so you start out with those thin layers and build upon the coverage that you need, versus putting a ton of it on all at once and then dealing with either it looking too warm because you've put too much on, or your face doesn't match your neck. It could be the right colors, but because you applied it wrong, it's not looking like the right colors. So again, that's why a color match is so important, is to know, okay, I know I have the right colors at least, but why is it still not looking right? And so once we work through troubleshooting what could be going on with those first, and you're still having color issues, then we can try a different color. But if you are applying it correctly and you have the correct colors, you shouldn't have any issues with this makeup. Okay, so on one side of my face, I am going to apply it the wrong way, and then we'll apply it the right way on the other side of my face. But I'm going to show you how you can fix the side that you do wrong instead of wiping it all off. You don't need to wipe it all off. There are ways to fix it. My absolute favorite brushes to apply this makeup is the blush and bronzer brush. It looks like this. I really like applying my highlight with the blush end of this brush. Right here, you can kind of get a closer look at it here. And my other favorite one is the blend brush. It looks like this. As you can see, I use this end a lot, but if you look really, really close, they're basically the same version of each other. One is just smaller and one is fatter. But these two brushes are by far my favorite. If you have these two brushes, this is the buff brush, this is the 3D brush. I often get asked, if I could pick one brush, which one should I get? And oftentimes I will recommend this one just because of the shape of the bristles down here is really great for contouring. This is really great for applying and blending, but typically I would try and swing towards getting 2 to 3 brushes if you can. They are double-ended, so you're getting 2 for 1. The buff brush is another favorite of mine, but notice how dense the bristles on these brushes are. They're super, super, super dense. So it's gonna pick up more of that cream, and that is where you can tend to get too much product if you're using a denser brush. I am one who has acne scarring. I don't have a ton of discoloration throughout my skin, but I do have a lot of scarring. So sometimes I want extra coverage. This brush is great for that. However, if you want to have buildable coverage in only certain places of your skin, then that's where going with a brush like the blend brush, where you can kind of tap that color on to get that buildable coverage, that's where you're going to get a better application. So if you've had a match done by me, you're gonna have a dark color, a lighter color, and then an even lighter color. We're gonna start out with the dark color. Notice how I am tapping my brush into that tin. I am not swiping. We're gonna start out with what not to do. And I'm gonna use the buff brush for this. And we're gonna start out with my color corrector. When I color match you, you're going to get those 3 highlights. You're going to have a dark one. You're going to have one that's kind of neutral. See how my dark one is pretty warm? And then my main highlight is pretty neutral. There's a reason for this. This darker, warmer one is going to be a color corrector. So it's going to have warmth to it because it's correcting pigmentation on my skin. Then you've got your neutral one, which is going to match my skin the best. And then I've got some lighter ones in here to brighten. Biggest mistake I see people doing is swiping this product off. You will go through these tins so incredibly fast if you are swiping your brush in there. It's picking up a ton of makeup, but you are also using a ton of makeup. And so if you feel like you're buying tins every 3 weeks, you are using way, way, way too much. This tin right here, I kid you not, will probably last me 6 months, 6 to 8 months if I'm just tapping. So make sure you're not swiping, but for the sake of this, we're gonna swipe, okay? And then we're gonna swipe it on my face here. Now, when you swipe, this is where you get a lot of bristle marks. If you notice, like, oh man, why does this look so cakey? Or I'm seeing a lot of bristle marks. It's because you are swiping it on like this, okay? You will also notice when you swipe, you're not gonna get the same coverage underneath your eyes once I show you how to do it correctly. So I'm just kind of going in and applying this where I want to color correct that skin. Oh my gosh, I can already see the bottom of this tin and I couldn't before. That's how much product this uses. Okay, so if we were to look up close at this, you would see a lot of swiping marks all over my face. And look how much warmer that is than my neck. Instead, for this one, to do it the right way, I'm going to use the blush and bronzer brush. I'm going to use the blush side of the brush, and I'm going to tap my brush in there. By tapping, you will get less product, but better results, okay? And then I'm going to go over and I'm going to look at my skin and decide where I want to color correct. And so I'm gonna use kind of these swirling buff motions. If you've watched my videos before, then you know this is the main application that I do, especially when applying my color corrector. Right now, I am just putting a really thin layer of that color where I need it corrected. For my under eyes, I love to just use my finger and apply it right where I'm seeing that discoloration on my under eye. This, by using my finger, I can really feel if I've distributed that product properly, evenly, if I have too much on there, if I don't have enough on there. You guys see the difference between each eye when I just kind of tap that color corrector under here, and I can really hone in on which areas that I want to apply that compared to when you just slap it on all over. Can you guys see that difference? Hopefully you can through the camera. Now, if I want to go in with extra coverage somewhere, like right here around my nostril, I've got kind of broken capillaries right through there, so it tends to be more red right within here. So that's where I'm going to take that blend brush because it's got that smaller end to it. I'm going to tap my brush in that tin, and then I'm going to kind of tap right around that area. So instead of doing the buffing swirling motion, I'm tapping, kind of like pouncing that brush right in that area. This is where I'm going to get that buildable coverage where I want it. If I were to keep doing the buff swirling motions, that's great for getting kind of a base initial application on there and getting that thin layer. But if I have areas where I want more coverage, I'm going to kind of just lightly tap that color within there. Same with here. If I see more coverage I need, I'm just tapping that color right on there. Got kind of some scarring right here, so I'm gonna tap that color in there. Same with down here. Okay, so if you applied it the way I did on the no-no side, here's how you can fix it. My favorite way to get this makeup off if you put too much on is with a perfector sponge. They're also called beauty sponges, but in the Seint world, we call it a perfector sponge. You guys, there is truly a stark difference between the ones from Seint and the ones you can get at the beauty store. I feel like the ones you can get at like Ulta and Sephora are more dense because they're made for applying liquid foundation. So they're a lot more dense. These are specifically designed for picking up any excess makeup on your face. So how to use these is you want to make sure you get it wet. So I will run it under a faucet and I will do a couple squeezes like this to really get that water absorbed in there. Then wring it out, wring all the water out, and then I take like a microfiber cloth and I will put my sponge in there and squeeze as much water out as you can. If you're still getting water out of this, it's gonna be too wet and it will literally wipe off the makeup. So this is how they look when they're dry. This is how they look when they're wet. Look at the size difference in how much it grows when you get it wet. So I will get it wet before I start doing my makeup, and then I kind of let it air dry as I do my makeup and use it as I need to. But I'm basically going to take that and kind of press it along my face here, and you can kind of roll the sponge at the same time. Once the sponge feels warm on my skin, I'll roll it to a new spot, and so that it feels kind of cold on my face. And this is going to pick up any excess that I might have on my skin. So no need to completely wipe it all off your face. grab a perfector sponge, prep it correctly, and it will take the amount of makeup off needed when you prep it right. So now I'm gonna go in with my main highlight, I believe is Candlelit Right Now. Like we had kind of talked about, see how this one's warm and see how this one's neutral. This one's warm because it's a color corrector. This one's neutral because it's closest to my natural skin. So I'm gonna go in and I'm tapping that color there, okay? And I am going to do those soft swirling motions because I want to get a thin layer of that color on there. This is helping to give coverage, but it's going on so thin that if I need more coverage somewhere, I can layer that. But for my main highlight, I want a pretty thin application, okay? Let's do the same to the other side. Okay, I have a couple areas that I still want a little more coverage on this side. So I'm gonna go in and I'm kind of pouncing that color right here around my nose, just to give a little more coverage to the areas that I want that coverage. If you've seen previous videos of mine, then you know that I preach that Seint Makeup is a one layer makeup. It's like a paint by number for your face. I personally feel like there's an exception to this, and it's if you have a lot of scarring or pigmentation like I do. Sometimes you just need that extra layer of coverage. I have a lot of scarring through here. This is where I've dealt with hormonal acne my whole adult life. And so I've got a lot of scarring that I have to work extra hard to kind of cover up. But if you are one who you don't have a whole lot of different things going on with your face, you can truly achieve that one layer application. But for me, and for this video specifically, I am kind of going in there and creating deeper coverage within those areas. Now, this is where you can take that perfector sponge again so that we make sure we didn't get too much on there. And I'm just stamping that sponge on there to get off any excess makeup if I got too much on here, because we do want to keep it thin. We want to keep those layers thin. So this is where that sponge is really, really handy, because it's going to take off any excess that I might have gotten on there. Okay, so this sponge is such a good tool to have, because if you over apply, you don't need to wipe it off. Just take that sponge and dab it on there, stamp it on there, get off any excess makeup that you might have gotten on there. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and finish my makeup. Since this video is just on highlight specifically, I'm gonna finish my makeup and then we will come back and chat a little bit about some other key important things to take note of when applying your highlight. makeup's done. What a difference brows and eyes make. I always say that, but it's so true. And so before we wrap this thing up, I wanted to point something out. If you are someone who has blemishes, acne scarring, you have active blemishes, you've got sunspots, hyperpigmentation in certain areas, anything that is super teeny tiny small. So for example, I had a zit right here and now it's kind of in the scarring phase and it's probably going to hang out there for a little bit longer. Instead of trying to take a bigger, I should say, fluffy brush to color correct that, because you're going to get color outside of where it needs to be, I love taking a really tiny brush. This one is one of my favorites. It's called the multitasker brush. See how it's very, very small? And I'm going to dip that in my color corrector just a little bit, and I'm going to go back and spot treat that one area where I've got that scar. Same with this one. And here. If I get too much product on there, I'm just gonna kind of pat with a brush and stamp it just to blend it out, but it disappeared completely. So instead of taking a big brush and trying to hide a little tiny blemish, take a smaller brush and focus that color just on the area that you're trying to neutralize and filter out. Now that my makeup is done, I'm gonna set with my setting spray. This is Seint's setting spray. I just poured it into a different bottle because I actually don't like the sprayer on our setting spray. I think it comes out way too strong. So I poured it in a different bottle that kind of gives it more of a mist. This was the Urban Decay All-Nighter, and I actually didn't like it. I had so many people rave about it and I did not like it. So I poured my Seint setting spray in there and let's get my face set. All right, so while that's drying, I guess I will share my eyeshadow colors with you. Were this one right here, which is Pup, and Cocoa. That's all it was. So I did Pup all over my lid here, and then I did Cocoa just kind of on the outer corner, and I swooped it up onto my brow bone just to kind of give it that smokier look to it. And the mascara that I have been using lately that I absolutely love, especially if you're trying to get fuller looking lashes, my bottom lashes are so sparse and I'm loving this for thickening it up. So this is called Pump It Up Maggie and it is from Red Aspen. I will also link this one in the description box below. You guys, you see my skin. I have tons of scarring, acne, bunch of different things going on, and I am still able to get that coverage that I'm looking for using thin layers of this makeup. Cream, hands down, is by far the best makeup you will ever use on your skin. It looks so incredibly natural. It's amazing on oily skin and incredibly amazing, I can't think of enough words, for mature skin. It does not settle into fine lines or wrinkles if you apply it the way I teach you. Don't forget, if you want to get your hands on this makeup, there is a form in the description box below. It's called a color match, is what I like to call it. It's just a quick form I have you fill out. You attach a makeup-free selfie to that form. So best way to do this is standing with your face facing a window. Right behind this camera is a window. That's where you're going to get that natural light on your skin, and I'll be able to see your skin tones the best. That's the most important piece of filling out that form, is so that I can see your beautiful skin and give you the right colors that are going to match your skin the best. Thank you so much for tuning in, you guys. Make sure to drop a comment below. Let me know what you learned. And if you haven't yet, tap that bell, like this video, and subscribe to my channel. Your support means so much. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.